without any further ado, I think we should make a start on this very interesting, connected on ability, inspire and enable disability festival. It gave me great pleasure earlier on to open the Disability Festival with some of our external speakers on the first session, and I think it's absolutely great that we're here today talking about disability equality and why that is important to us. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kez Hayat, and I'm the head of Equality, Diversity and Inclusion at Bradford Teaching Hospitals. I'm just going to ask my colleague, Izzy, to introduce herself. This is going to be delivered as a bit of a duo. So Izzy, do you want to come in and introduce yourself, please?
Yep, sure. Hi everyone, my name's Izzy. I'm a Mobility Services Manager at Airedale NHS Foundation Trust, and I'm also our supported intern lead within our organisation.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Izzy. So this session is for the next hour or so. This session is going to be looking at access to employment for people with a disability, and I will be talking about our wonderful Project Search, which is something that we host at Bradford Teaching Hospitals, and I'll talk a little bit about that in my session. Izzy, do you just want to give a brief overview of what you will talk about, please?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to talk through a collaboration that we have with Keighley College, whereby we provide workability skills and employment for young adults with a varying degree of disabilities.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Izzy. So just before I go into my presentation to give you an overview around what Project Search is, I just want to sort of contextualise why we're here today. So most people will be aware of Disability History Month, and obviously yesterday was Disability History Day. Now, what we normally do, I suppose, within our organisations is try and make use of some of these celebratory days in terms of raising awareness, because we know that these international days really allow us to raise awareness of a whole range of equality, diversity and inclusion issues, challenges, but also really looking into the whole focus around equality versus equity. So this is our first ever Bradford District and Craven Health and Care Partnership Disability Festival. So the whole week we will be looking at delivering a range of sessions around disability equality, in particular disability equality in the workplace. So for those of you who are not aware of the programme, please look at the Actors One Bradford and District Craven website, where you will see a whole range of events taking place. So how did we get here to this Disability Festival Week? So members of our equality networks, in particular the disability staff equality networks and equality leads and other individuals who have a keen desire and interest in disability equality, we basically got together from a health and social care partnership perspective. And actually in the first meeting, we very quickly realised that actually there's some amazing practice taking place within our respective organisations, and it would be great to bring that all together. So the programme aims to help people understand more about disabilities, including hidden disabilities, how we can all work together to make our workplaces more inclusive. And certainly some of these sessions are providing a safe space for you to ask any questions that can help you or your colleagues or people who you look after. Now, before I go into my session, I just like to remind people to go on mute. I will probably deliver my presentation for about 10 minutes. We will then go over to Izzy, who will do the similar, and then we want to open it up for questions and discussion, any observations, any reflections. So without any further ado, I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I'm looking at my colleague here to help me. not very technically minded like my colleague is. So I'll share my presentation and then we shall make a start.
No, shared the wrong thing. That's a different. No.
Yeah, excellent. Can everybody see that?
You can move that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent, wonderful. So what I want to talk about is our wonderful project search that we have within Bradford Teaching Hospitals. So most of you will be wondering, what is Project Search? So Project Search is a transition to work programme for young adults aged 18 to 25 with a learning disability, including those with the autistic spectrum condition. What it does, it supports young people to gain key skills and meaningful work experience in a real life setting. The programme obviously includes a systematic approach to it, whereby our interns learn new skills and focus on developing their confidence, not just in the workplace, but even confidence in terms of leaving home independently, utilising public transport and getting themselves into work. Often what happens with our interns is that they are treated like any other employee within the organisation once they become an intern for Project Search. So Project Search really it's very evidence-based and it's outcome-driven. We're really keen that our interns, actually, our focus is about getting sustained long-term paid employment, as well as helping businesses get a more inclusive workforce. And I will talk about that shortly as well. So Project Search is a global project. Project Search, is across the world, over 550 programs across 10 countries, including 48 in the United States of America. There's more than 70 programs in the UK alone, and certainly for West Yorkshire Care Partnership, we are looking at more trusts coming forward and acting as hosts for Project Search. Project Search, since its inception, has supported more than 1,350 young people into work, which is absolutely fantastic. So narrowing that down to Bradford Teaching Hospitals, we started this wonderful journey of having Project Search within the trust in 2013. In the last 9 years, just in terms of some of our success rates, 57 young people have completed the programme, and 42 out of them 57, I'm pleased to say, have found paid employment. We currently have 6 interns who are currently undergoing the programme at BTHFT. Now, you may be wondering, just 6? Now, we think COVID obviously had an impact on some of our young people, and we are always looking at improving the numbers of interns. So this is a number for this year, but we are very hopeful that we will get more numbers for next year. So the Bradford programme, it's a partnership, it's not just delivered by the hospital. So we work with DFN Project Search. We work very closely with Bradford College and HFT, which is the national charity supporting people with learning disabilities to live their best life as the supported employment provider. So what they do, they provide a lot of support to the interns. Basically, they provide job coaches, so somebody who will work with the interns in terms of polishing their interview skills, updating their job applications, updating their CVs, etc. So it's very much, delivered by a partnership approach. So the program design, basically, it's a one-year program. We go for up to 8 to 12 young adults, usually the aged are 18 to 24. Project Search is for those young people who have an educational health care plan. As I said, these interns get treated like any other employee, so they have to pass the necessary employment checks, acknowledging that these interns are working in hospital on some of our wards with a wide range of people. A variety of learning disabilities and autism spectrum conditions. So that's what we see when some of these young people come into work. And we rotate through free skill building opportunities with continual feedback. And the end result, I suppose, is that we want our interns to get paid employment. So the program offers 3 different placements within Bradford Teaching Hospital. And then placements could be from anywhere to medical secretary's department, in our laundry, post room, front of house, hospitality. So a wide range of, 3 different placements are provided to each intern. This sort of equates to about 900 plus hours of work experience. I mentioned earlier that the interns will get a one-to-one support, is also provided by Project Search. A full-time workplace mentor. So say, for example, we've sent an intern to our pharmacy department, then in pharmacy, they will get a mentor who they can go to in terms of any support, advice, and guidance. Ongoing feedback and development of skills is carefully monitored, and we're absolutely crucial. That's absolutely crucial, and we really monitor that from the day one, really, where the interns actually start onto the actual project. And then, like with anything else, say for example, an intern is working in our hospitality department, where our hospitality staff do wear uniforms, then also uniforms are provided to the individuals as well. We often refer to the base room, which is where it's like the central point for our interns and our Project Search staff who sort of place themselves there. And the base room sessions take place twice daily. This really helps to reinforce any training that's happened on the placement. It also allows the interns to reflect on their placement and working practices. And there's a lot of focus in the base room on completing an employability skills qualification. And there's lots of work in terms of developing a CV, learning job searching skills, and preparing for interviews. So what has this done for us as an organisation, as Bradford Teaching Hospitals? I think first and foremost, it really enables us as an organisation to raise the profile of disability equality across the trust. It makes us more smarter around disability equality in terms of how we may need to sometimes change our services. And I suppose I'm talking about the whole argument between equality versus equity. It's increased trust from our local community, parents and carers, and it's resulted in a very successful visit from an MP last year who really highly commended some of the work we are doing with Project Search. So what next for Project Search for us at Bradford? So we're looking at how we can expand Project Search by including over 25s here at BTHFT as well. We're encouraging other NHS trusts to sign up, and we're sort of sharing our learning with a lot of these organisations, for example, the Bradford District Care Foundation Trust and Harrogate District Hospital. DFN Project Search, who I talked about earlier, they've now set a specific target of getting 10,000 young people into work during the 10 next years. So that's quite an ambitious target there. But as we are working, as project searches are becoming successful in other countries, other towns, other trusts, that is definitely helping in terms of the raising the profile of such schemes. So I've talked very quickly through them slides, sort of time myself 10 minutes, conscious that, we want to really pass on to you guys as well for that further Q&A and wider discussion. So I hope you found that helpful. I can share the presentation with people on the call, and I will take questions after my colleague Izzy has given an overview of the scheme that she's working on at Airedale. Thank you. Over to you, Izzy.
Thanks, Kez. Okay, so I'm just going to bring up some slides and go through what we currently offer at Airedale as well. I won't be 1 second. Okay, so you should be able to see the slides on screen now.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, wonderful. So I've already done a bit of a brief intro to me, but as you know, my name is Izzy, and oops, sorry, I've just gone a bit too far. This is all very different to the one that I had previously. Just hang on 1 second for me. Have you still got the slides on screen, or have they gone?
Just gone now.
They've just disappeared.
Okay, bear with me 1 second. Okay, so you should have them back on screen now. Are they there?
Not yet.
Yes.
It is. Are you sharing them yet?
Yeah, I've shared them.
I've got it. Yeah, it's just come up. Sorry, there's a delay. Sorry, ignore me.
Right, don't worry. I think it's my office. I think I'm in a bit of a black spot. Okay, so as you know, my name's Izzy and I'm our supported intern lead here at Airedale NHS Foundation Trust. So this is quite a new incentive for us. We started our scheme in 2018 and we work in collaboration with Keighley College. So the aim of our programme is very similar to that of Kez's in that we offer opportunities to students with varying degree of disabilities to engage in work experience and to give them skills and development that they need to progress into future paid employment. This next slide kind of encompasses our aims and ambitions really, in that not only are they a reality for us on the scheme, but also for our very deserving interns. This picture illustrates 2 of our interns who came to us in our first intake back in 2018. They worked through the programme, worked extremely hard, and through their commitment, they went on then to secure permanent posts within the trust. And I think for us, because this was a pilot scheme, this is the first time we'd done anything like this within the organisation, it meant from a trust perspective, we needed to take quite a different approach to traditional recruitment methods. So we looked at the aspirations of our interns, we matched them to the roles that they desired through the placement options that they've had. And then we went through a job carving process whereby we made reasonable adjustments to the posts. We created opportunities for the individuals based around their needs, and then we set in the individuals' competency framework that they could achieve that was based on the adjustments that we'd made for them within their role. And that was quite new to us for us as an organisation and something that we've developed more as we've gone through the programme. So the programme, similar to Kez's programme, is very much based around individuals. So our students, they attend the college first and they go through their workability skills. They brush up on interview skills, and we kind of have a meeting with them at that point, and we look at what are their aspirations, what do they want to do, and what are their career goals, and what's their areas of interest. We then match them to areas within the organisation that they've specified an interest in. And then we go through an induction process. So they come into the organisation, they visit their area. It's very much tailored around them as individuals, making sure that they feel comfortable on site. They know the requirements of being on site. If they're working in an environment where they need uniform, everything is ordered for them. We then go through mandatory training, requirements of what they need to know from an organisational point of view. And then they have a brief introduction with their placement area, so they know the faces before they come into the organisation for the first day. So then they go to the placement areas and they're provided with job coaches from Keighley College who we work in collaboration with. So job coaches will be in the organisation and will visit them at various points. We have regular meetings with job coaches and regular meetings with the interns themselves, very much like we do with our employees, really. So we base it around one-to-ones, we base it around supervision, around structure for them, and we look at the reasonable adjustments that we've made when they first come into the programme. Are they still suitable? Is there anything else that we need as we go forward through each placement area? Are we meeting their needs? And then lastly, I just want to come on to the benefits of the scheme for our staff, because I think this is the most important thing. Clearly, I'm extremely biased about this scheme. I think it's so worthwhile and such a huge part of my role. I only came into the organisation probably about 15 years ago, but only came into a management role round about the same time that I took on intern lead. And for me, it's so valuable to be able to see these interns develop from coming in from a work experience perspective to then going into paid employment. And the two that we have currently at paid employment, they're well known within our organisation. People greet them on the corridor. They're just such a huge part of celebrating us as Airedale Hospital. But I think this slide kind of encompasses some of the things, the feedback that we've taken from other areas, and there's specific quotes that I've lifted directly from placement areas who supported the interns and also now who work with individuals as paid employees. There's a couple of quotes on there that stand out in particular for me. The first one is the second quote about the interns are a pleasure to have as part of our team. Their commitment, energy and enthusiasm is infectious. And I think that's the real important thing, is that a recent celebration and engagement event that we went to with Keighley College, this feedback was also mirrored from another organisation who support Keighley College with offering manufacturing opportunities. They also said exactly the same about the interns, that they come with a fresh injection of enthusiasm, and that starts to become infectious and has an impact on our staff. They're able to embrace this and see the benefits within their team as well as just for the interns. And then quote 5, this talks about us developing and strengthening teams, but also in helping us to think differently and about our approach to work. And again, that's key for me, in that this was something that was quite new to us and a pilot scheme for us as an organisation, but actually something that we needed to do. You know, we're one of the biggest employers locally, and we're socially responsible to help shape the opportunities that we can offer to those with disabilities. It's about being able to challenge historic perspectives, about being able to embrace new ways of working, thinking differently, and most importantly, creating an inclusive culture to enable those with disabilities to be able to reach their goals and aspirations. And we really believe that this project has given us, as a trust, the ability to do that, in that we've been able to suit our communication needs, to flex to individual needs. We've been able to show compassion to individuals and make reasonable adjustments, and being assertive in supporting our interns, who have then gone on to be employees and are given exactly the same benefits that they are given as an intern. So for us as an organisation, it's a huge sense of pride and commitment in watching our interns grow their ability and confidence, and then going on to achieve their ambitions and progress into paid employment. So that's it from me. I'm just going to stop sharing those slides. There you go.
Thank you, Izzy. That was really helpful and a great overview. And as you were talking through, very similar, isn't it, in terms of Project Search and your scheme, and something that resonated whilst you were talking is we are massive employers within our district, and big employers have a role to play, whereby we know, and we've already talked about, the different opportunities that we could potentially offer. And when I hear some of them stories from our parents of some of these young people, what they often say is, because the impact on my son or daughter being at Project Search is not just a positive impact on them, but the whole family household. And when I hear stories like that, I just think, gosh, this is absolutely wonderful. And fantastic that actually as large employers, we are able to offer these fantastic opportunities. When I see some of our interns who are in paid full-time employment, and when I see them, you can simply see that they are actually thriving young people.
Yeah,
they really are. And doors have opened for them in lots of different ways. I've met some interns who would never get on a bus on their own. But yet, those same individuals are actually leaving home alone, some days changing 2 buses and getting into work on time, each time, every day, which is a success in itself.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the celebration and engagement event that we attend annually at the college in partnership with them, that's a time where we meet the parents, we engage other organisations within the local community, we talk about best practice, the things that we've been able to enable for these interns. And I think that's always key, is that when you talk to the parents, it's the impact that it has on these individuals. And actually all we're doing is giving them opportunities that are open to everybody else, but we're making them a lot more wide scale, and we're giving them opportunities to be able to go into paid employment, to be able to have that independence, to travel to work, to have that income, and to start to achieve some of the things, the longer term aims that they want to achieve within their own personal development and career.
Fantastic. So I'd like to now open it up, very conscious that we wanted these sessions to be interactive. I can already see one hand up, which is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, if colleagues have any questions, any information you are wanting, any reflections from us in terms of challenges, barriers, then let's utilise the next 30 minutes or so for a wider discussion. This is obviously a safe space, so I hope people feel confident enough to be able to ask us anything, and we will do our best to answer as well. So the first question, the first hand I can see is coming from Matthew Smells Cresswell. Do you want to come in, please?
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Hi.
So it's probably a question for both of you, and what's behind this is, I suppose, if you were looking to do a scheme like this, or if we were looking to sort of try and get wider engagement with managers across the organisation, what kind of advice might we be able to give them, or what kind of pearls of wisdom? I know is in your slides, well, in both sets of slides, there was some really great experiences of people who had done it. But what I suppose I'm thinking about when we talk to people about trying to get work experience or trying to get anything else, it's hard enough. So we've got an extra potential barrier in there. And I suppose what sorts of things might we be able to advise or help or say to sort of increase engagement? And I suppose it is for both of you, from both of your experiences, but it struck me quite a bit with Izzy's first, I think. But
okay, so I'll come in if you want, Izzy first, and then you can take over. So I think that's a really valid question, Matthew. So I work very, very closely with our Project Search coordinator, who's appointed, who's in role by HFT, the charity that I mentioned earlier. So my focus with them is we have a regular week check-in to look at how are we making other managers and departments aware of Project Search exists within the trust. And we do that by utilising a range of communication mediums within the trust. We go out to departments my colleagues within Project Search, they will identify a number of different departments, and they will take a presentation with them, just like I've delivered here, and go and talk to managers about the benefits of having a Project Search intern within their department. And we share a lot of success stories, Matthew, with a lot of our departments. So, for example, from our last year's cohort, there's a young chap in there called Mohammed, who's currently working in our Costa Cafe at the moment on the concourse at Bradford Teaching Hospital. Well, since Mohammed has started working for Costa, the whole dynamics within Costa has completely changed. It's never been cleaner, first and foremost, since Mohammed's gone there. The customers all know Mohammed, they all know of him. He makes a real fuss of customers, goes the extra mile. So there's a lot of success stories in there in the impact of having an intern at Costa, similar with, some positive stories from other departments as well. So what I'm saying, Matthew, is that targeted engagement with a range of our departments is absolutely crucial, because sometimes departments or colleagues might think, oh, I'm bringing somebody in with a learning difficulty that may require, input on my time, and I may have to provide a lot of support. Actually, that's not the case. That level of support, we've got people who are paid to do that. We've got external organisations like Access to Work. And as you start talking about these things, it sort of provides the detail for then departments and to say, oh, hold on, I want to try this, and I'm going to speak to colleagues in Project Search. So, and that's a continuous effort as well, Matthew. We can't just say, well, we've got Project Search and we've got it all now and everybody in the organisation is aware of it. It's a continuous process whereby we really focus on our engagement and information around Project Search. So I hope I've answered your question there, Matthew. Izzy, do you want to come in? Have you got anything to add?
Yeah, sure. I was just going to say from an Airedale perspective, I think it's about being as flexible as we can as possible, but also being realistic in that we need to manage expectations of areas where we're looking to place interns in around what does this involve from a placement perspective, what is the ask, what are we asking you to do, but then really highlight the benefits. So for us, quite often we take our intern who's now in paid employment with us, and she will talk about her experiences, how this has the impact it's had on her in her role, in her life, etc. And then we take other placement areas who participated in the programme to also kind of have a bit of a Q&A session with other managers who are looking to participate with placement options. And I think for us as an organisation, because we work in collaboration with Keighley College, we have the job coaches on site who can provide support. But ultimately for us, we're a little bit more dependent upon placement areas in that they really are there to support the individual. So it's really about managing the expectations and making sure that the placement area has the skills and knowledge to be able to help and support. And I think we have so many success stories in Airedale with our placements. We get very little negativity or pushback. It's all very supportive, very inclusive. And, you only have to look at our success stories to know that it does work. And I think it's just about that constant engagement with managers. We have various engagement events. We had one a couple of months ago within the trust where, we get so much interest from that point where people are offering placement options. And actually this year for our new intake of interns, we have more placement options than we do interns. So for me, that's a great sign.
Definitely. No, it has. I've got one last thing. One line of advice that you could offer a manager that was going to offer an opportunity for learners. Is that too hard?
One sentence would probably be Oh gosh.
You can't do it in one line. No, that's all right. I don't have to be one
Too hard
line.
probably to do in one line, but I would maybe say probably just to give it a go, because actually the benefits outweigh some of the things that people struggle with. So yeah, just give it a go.
Love it. Thank you. Cool.
Freya, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I suppose it's not, I really commend what both organisations are doing for people with learning disabilities, in particular our young people. I think it's really important that they get that opportunity, and it makes a difference in their lives immensely, doesn't it? And obviously gives them a track onto adulthood that they maybe never would have had before. But I guess it's not a question, it's a challenge for all of us in the room, is why just young people? And what could we do around people of a more mature age? And it's really interesting that you're both talking about learning disabilities, and maybe what do we do, a challenge to help people with more physical disabilities maybe in the workplace, and how could we, I guess my reflection is that it's the support package that goes with the schemes with Keighley College and with Project Search. Are there other organisations that maybe specialise in another route? And should we, as a health economy, be thinking about how we widen our scope? You're not going to be able to answer that, are you? It's just a food for thought question.
I think,
but it's a very good one. Sorry, it's a very good question, Freya. I think it's certainly something that we are talking about through our work with Project Search. You know, I have a 25-year-old son who's got physical disabilities, and it's really, really challenging getting him a job or even a voluntary placement. You know, so I know firsthand some of the barriers and some of the lack of opportunities for over 25s, and it's certainly something that we've initiated some discussion within West Yorkshire Partnership about how we can do that. How do we open our doors to, you know, above 25, and really looking at the whole package in terms of support, access to work, all of that, which is really crucial. So yeah, a really valid point. Sorry, Izzy, I rudely interrupted there. You go ahead.
No, that's absolutely fine. I was just going to say, to kind of address what Freya had said, in that my role within the organisation is split. So I'm head of mobility services here at the Trust, which obviously a lot of our patients that come into mobility services are long-term wheelchair users. And I've only been in this post a couple of months, but it's given me an insight into actually looking at things from a different perspective. And like Freya says, rather than focusing on just young people, is there a need to support disabilities as a whole, and what opportunities can we look at with the programs that we already have running? Is there something that we can then develop for over 25s to give them similar opportunities? I just wanted to pick up as well, Kez, just one of the comments that we've got in the chat box. Yeah. I think it's from May, and she's asked about, it sounds like the roles that we offer at the moment are face-to-face clinical. None of the roles are face-to-face clinical, as in healthcare support worker or therapy assistants, and would there be an opportunity for this in future schemes? So this is something that we have talked about as an organisation before, and yes, it is a future aspiration. We would love to be able to expand, and I think that's the key, is that how we've got success stories, so how do we expand? And that's maybe where we need to come together as organisations. But at the moment, no, those roles are purely non-clinical that we offer for intern at the moment.
Yeah, thanks for that, Izzy. And I would say very, very similar to that as well. We've never at Bradford Teaching Hospitals had clinical roles for Project Search, but it's certainly something we've got an eye on. I think we've got to be realistic here that some of these young people are coming in with entry levels in terms of English and maths, and obviously with clinical roles. HCA, for example, they require, qualifications in English and maths, which are obviously a lot more above level 1 entries and all of that. So certainly something that we are always currently looking at. We've got an intern in IT, actually, who's been in IT now in paid employment for some time. And he's sort of going up the ranks within IT. So initially he was IT assistant, now he's IT officer, where he's doing a bit more than just taking calls, etc. So there's clearly that, career path there, but I think it's a very valid point that you've raised, and it is certainly something that we will be exploring further. So I'm just reading the comments in the chat. I think we've answered most of them now. So I'll bring it back to the screen again. So if there's any further questions, comments, observations, then please fire away. Great. Susan, can I bring you in, please?
Hello.
Hi.
I don't really have a question as such. I just wanted to say thank you, and this has been really interesting. I'm joining from adult social care, and I'm a commissioning officer for learning disabilities, autism and neurodiversity. We're actually at the start of something a little bit similar. We were recently awarded a DWP grant for a supported employment scheme for autistic adults. It's still at the very early stages, but this has been really useful, listening to people who've done something similar and obviously much further down the road. So yeah, I just want to say thank you.
You're very welcome, Susan, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks.
Anybody else wants to come in? No further questions, comments? Is there anything else you want to cover?
No, I've just having a quick flick through the chat, but it looks like we've covered everything off. And no, I think we've highlighted the work that we do well.
Yeah. So I just want to let people know on the call that on the 15th of December, we have a bit of an open day whereby all of them wonderful colleagues and staff that I've mentioned in my presentation will be at Margaret Macmillan Towers, whereby we will have an open day, a recruitment day, for example, and it's an opportunity for anybody to learn more about Project Search, or if you are aware of any young person who could be eligible and they want further information, or you're aware of any parent, carer who has a child with learning difficulties and they're looking at employment opportunities, please send them our way. 15th of December, and it's between 12 and 3 o'clock. Okay, so if there's no further comments or questions, I will formally close the session. Thank you everyone for attending.